When you're building an application, there's a lot of pressure to keep security vulnerabilities out of your code. But no matter how skilled you are, between your own code, dependencies, and configurations, you can't catch them all on your own. But that's why Snyk's here. We're the secure development platform that can extend the security reach of every developer. With Snyk, you don't have to handle security vulnerabilities on your own. Snyk. Develop fast. Stay secure.
Hey everyone, welcome back. Day number 2 of JavaScript Congress 2021. Super excited to have you all back here today. We are going to have a lot of fun and learn some new things maybe, but mostly just have fun. And speaking of fun, that's most important. And yeah, I want to talk about our fun partners for a little bit. We have a lot of partners that have helped us with organizing this event, and we would not be able to do this level of production for this price range without all of our partners and media partners and community partners that have helped spread the word. So thanks a lot to all of our partners. If you're watching today, we want you to have a good time and feel safe. If you don't feel safe, then you can let us know in the chat. But just to make sure that everyone's on the same page, we have a short video to tell you about our code of conduct. Okay, awesome. Please be nice to each other. So I am one of the hosts today. I am Metin Brzezinski. I'm joining you from the Netherlands, and I am a front-end developer at Miro. Well, actually, I'm starting in 2 weeks, but basically, I am a developer at Miro. And it's my honor to introduce our first speaker of the day. Sasha is joining us from Belarus, and she's going to be talking to us about the latest APIs that you have never heard of. So I don't know. Yeah, I would love to tell you what this talk is about, but I have never heard of these APIs. So Sasha, can you join me on stage, please?
Hi. Thank you, Metin. Hi, everyone. How are you? How is the second day? How is going?
I think everyone is having a good time. Let Sasha know in the chat, and I will leave you to it, Sasha. Please enlighten us. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. Hi. And my name is Sasha, and today we're talking about a few APIs that you might not know about. Cool. I'm glad if you know, but I hope I'll say something new for you today. So let's talk about a little bit myself. Who am I and why I'm not even talking about that? I'm a lead developer, and right now I'm an engineering manager at Bravado. So I'm not just a developer right now, more for a manager position. But I'm almost 15 years in front-end development. I created my first website when I was in high school, and I love coding. I love HTML, CSS, and JavaScript since then. I used to work and still work with a lot of frameworks, and also a little bit for server side on Node.js. And also, starting from 2021, I'm a Google developer expert on web technologies. So I have some hints about what will come to the browsers a little bit earlier than public or average developer. And also I inspire girls to be more visible in the tech communities by representing women tech makers community. And when I'm not working, not sleeping, and not trying to burn out, I'm also an organizer of local community here in Minsk, Belarus, Minsk CSS, Minsk JS, and also one of the biggest front-end conferences in Russia, Front-end Conf. But let's talk about the web APIs and what it even means, web APIs. Well, as a front-end developers, we usually works in the browser. Browser is our main platform, although it's not the only one, but mostly we work for in the browser. And in the browsers, there's only three technology, HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So what am I going to talk about today? Web APIs is a bunch of different APIs, JavaScript mostly, but not only JavaScript, that allows you to do more on the platform. They're kind of extension to languages, part of the standards of the languages that allows you do more interaction, more fun stuff on the platform. And of course, there are a lot of APIs. Please do not try to read them. We will get through some of them during my talk. But you may notice that some of them has CSS prefixes, some of them HTML, and some of them do not have any language hints on them. So yes, some of those web APIs are part of HTML standards. Some of them are CSS standards, and some of them kind of extension to JavaScript standards. So, but there are a lot of APIs, and to kind of help you get through them, I divided those lists, which is actually the screenshot of the MDN page, to 6 categories, and I'll try to give you some examples from some APIs from those categories. And the first category is kind of very obvious and very popular that we use basically every day is document object model and styles manipulations. And usually when we think of this kind of web APIs, we think about changing styles or manipulating elements on the page. But what if we as developers need to detect the page zoom? How we would do that? Well, there is a demo for that, like small CodePen demo that kind of helps you to get the zoom. Please do not mind of the numbers that you have right here. I'm sharing the browser right now, so it's kind of the iframe on the page. The numbers here are not right just because I use some kind of slides engine, so there is a zoom, so it's not the actual number. But if we go to a separate page, you'll probably get something like this. So you'll get the actual numbers here. So when you try to change zoom, you'll get the number. But the thing is, with this script, the JavaScript code that needs to actually detect it is quite big, like more than 400 lines of code. And sometimes it could not be that obvious for just getting one number here. So, okay, but for desktop it works. But if you go with the same script, with the same page for mobile device, and this is actually like my recorded video from my mobile phone, you'll get very interesting results. When the user try to zoom the page, the numbers won't change. So it does not work for mobile devices. And here's why. Because when we try to change the zoom, we are trying to change the layout viewport. I have a quick demo here. So when you scale the page or try to zoom it on some mobile devices, what it actually, the previous script actually tried to check is the blue border, the bigger border. But what we have to actually check is the smaller one, the red border. So the visual viewport is a little bit different what is the layout viewport. And here is the API that helps you to get the numbers. Visual Viewport is an API that provides you, unfortunately, read-only properties, so you cannot set those properties, but it provides you a list of properties that you can get the numbers that could be helpful in some interesting different situations. And if, for example, if I would like to use this Visual Viewport API, I just need only one line of code to get the zoom. Yes, that's it. Visual Viewport.scale, and you get the number. How it could be useful? Let's say you have some fixed element that's on your page, and it's fine for for desktops, but let's say it has your website or a page has the same thing on mobile devices. And of course, when the user try to zoom into the content, some of the fixed element might be a little bit distracting, or layering out the content the user might be able to see or be able to get. So we could use this property, visual viewport API, to kind of detect the changes and remove some unnecessary elements for that. And a good thing is that right now it's shipped to almost every evergreen browser, so it's actually a little bit safe to use right now. So if you were looking for something that will give you the ability to get more information about what the user see, how some properties of the interaction with the page, that's the API you might go for. And a little bit more about this category. Let's kind of remove what very, very obvious API we use every day. And what I would like also recommend you to look at is API, which is actually CSS standard. So it's just a CSS, no JavaScript requirement. CSS counter styles. Nice, interesting standard for CSS that allows you not to use before and after elements, as we do for styling list items right now. You can do styling your list in a more efficient way. Another two APIs that could be also helpful, and they're a part of Houdini API standards, CSS painting API and CSS typed object model. Nice, interesting APIs that allows you to do even more things with CSS. HTML drag and drop API. For my opinion, this API kind of underestimated and underused. And I know a lot of libraries in NPM, very popular drag and drop libraries, they do not use the browser ability to do native drag and drop. They implement their own drag and drop, but they do not use native browsers drag and drop. So if you need something very small connected with drag and drop, you can go with the native browser abilities. And another interesting thing that also helps you to get more information about users' interactions is Intersection Observer API and Page Visibility API. I think those two API allows you to do interesting performance optimization as well as interactions. So check them out if you haven't tried or know about them. Let's go to another category, data transferring and networking. And what if you're developing, let me go to, what if you're developing an application when your users sometimes do not have connections between servers, and you would like to have communication not just through the server, but between tabs, for example. And here is the API for you. Browsers right now can share interaction messages between different contexts, in one window, between tabs, and even between iframes. I think it's a nice thing to have, especially if you want to somehow lesser the payload for your networking, or in some situation, as I mentioned before, when your users doesn't have connections, but still application needs some communication between tabs or iframes. And here is a simple example. Let's say, again, since I have the full power of browser right now, and there are two iframes, two applications, two pages on another page, let's say you just want to say hello to another one. So again, it will work. But just to prove you that I'm not kind of trying to mislead you, I just opened a page, and here is another version of this application. And when I send it here, those two applications also works. So of course, the chat example is kind of very very simple and like general example, but you can do a lot of things with that. And in order to use this API, you do not need a lot of code. You just need to set up a broadcast channel. Then you just post a message or any data you need, and you receive the message in the context you need. And of course, do not forget to close the connection just to avoid any memory leaks. So good thing is it works for a lot of browsers. So as a progressive enhancement for lesser your network payload or any other interesting interaction between tabs for your applications, you can use it as a progressive enhancement. But let's say another APIs in this category. Remove something that we kind of use every day, like WebSockets, like Fetch API or something like that. What I would like, also would like to kind of highlight here is two APIs. They kind of similar, but in a different direction way. Beacon API is an API that allows you to send event from the server and not to wait the response. So we usually, for Ajax, we use client to the server, then from server to the answer back to the client. Beacon API does not require a response. Server sent event, on the other hand, do similar thing, but from the server. So the server basically sends events to the browser and does not kind of waiting for some responses. So nice, interesting APIs in the browser that allows you to create even more interesting communication thing. Another API that kind of similar to what I showed with broadcast channel API is channel messaging API in a little bit different way for different contexts, but also very similar and probably worth to look at. Network Information API is a very powerful API that allows you to do to check networking, to track information, to analyze information. If you haven't tried it or read about it, do that, because it allows you to do even more interesting thing for your application. And Streams API, also nice API. It deserves a separate talk for this API, so just check it out. Another big category of API connected with the media. And the good interesting thing is right now we can detect QR codes from the browser. I will show you some examples. So just to okay, please work. Okay, it works. So this is again my screen recording from my phone. I just open Google page for QR code and open the link that I showed you on the previous slide. So from the browser, from the web page, you can detect QR code. And this application does not require actually network connection. So there's no server that parses this QR code. Barcode detection API is a nice API that allows you to detect QR code, and actually not just QR code, but different types of codes. So you just initiate the barcode detector, and then just by one method and simply giving it the image, in the promise you'll get the array of barcodes, or you'll receive an error if there's any. Just simple as that. But the thing is that not in every browser it works. It works okay for Chrome on Android. It partially works for desktop Chromes and Chrome-based browsers, but it has some sometimes difficulties. So as a progressive enhancement, probably is for a lot of APIs I'm talking about, this could be a nice thing to have for some users if their browsers support that. So if your application is more on the IoT side of IT area, so it could be really nice improvement for some users. Let's look at some other APIs that's in this category. And for me, it's probably the most imaginary, most visual category, more interesting thing here. Full screen API is a nice API. If you haven't known, you you can create a button that will, or any other element that will set your page, your browser to full screen. So, for example, your users do need to use a lot of full screen modes. You can create some elements that help them to in your interface to go to this full screen mode or go off from this full screen mode. So nice thing to have if your users need that functionality. Media Session API, another interesting API that probably also deserves another separate talk. Check it out if you haven't heard of it. Interesting thing could be done here. Picture-in-picture API. If you're a familiar user for Twitch for mobile devices, or if you're a YouTube Premium user, you probably know that when you watching the video and then you just want to go to some other application on your mobile phone, you have the ability to still continue to watch this like video on stream in some smaller window on top of your interface. So picture-in-picture API is basically does the same for the browser. So let's say for some streaming video projects, that would be very useful if the services will have this ability. So if you're working on some like media streaming video services, look at this API. It will help your users to still stay on your service, but do their own task or things they want to work on. Presentation API is personally very excites me because if you like to share some like screen mirroring between different devices, this is what allows you to do the same thing in the browser. So if you, for example, want to share your screen of the browser on your TV, and your TV and your laptop that you're going to stream from is in one network, it's possible to do. Presentation API is just what you're going for here. Nice, interesting thing to have, very similar to native mobile application functionality. Screen wake lock API, also a nice, interesting thing that allows browser to be able to detect screen wakening and sleeping and kind of disturbing your screen. So again, interesting thing to at least look at. And of course, I could not mention WebGL and XR device API that allows you to create a lot of interactive different things in the browser, 3D games, and just like infinity possibilities here. Another category is devices. Also probably one of the most exciting categories here. And of course, I could share with you some interesting examples of how you can connect your browser and the Bluetooth, but it probably deserves another like separate talk for this topic. And actually, there are kind of a lot of talks about this topic already because this API is at least a few years on the market. And or I could show you some example how you can create music by connecting your browser and some actual MIDI devices. But again, this topic deserves another like separate talk for that. And there are a few of them already. But what I'm going to talk about is a little bit of my personal story and like small, simple API that could give you or improve your users' interaction feedback. So I'm personally a big camper lover, and also I love to play role play tabletop games. So, and sometimes I do need dices to roll, and I sometimes do not have them when I do camping in the forest and somewhere away from the civilization. And what I did for my friends when I get to this situation, I created a small app. It's just a web page that does one thing: it rolls the number of dices. And yes, the thing is that when you do some kind of this type of application, yes, it works for you like as a function, because you get the number of dices and the numbers, but it does not gives you ability to get the feedback, the like, actual stuff that you can touch, you can feel that they're kind of actually rolling. And I have this thing, and what I added, let me just show you. This is like my phone, and I'm trying to kind of rolling. They're rolling, but what I did add is I added something. I hope you'll hear, because my mic has some um, thing to defend from noise. But let's try this. I hope you hear some buzzing. Anyways, what I did add is that there is a vibration API. So your browser, your devices, if they have the ability to, they have implemented this API, they have the actual hardware to do a vibration. Your mobile phone or device could vibrate by some events, and the vibration could be different. It could be one-time vibration, as I did for my application, or it could be even a like sequence of some vibration and pauses. So it's very easy to use, and I think it's nice thing to have. It's really easy to use and could be interesting improvement for some applications that are kind of might require some more feedback, like touchy feedback for the users. Good thing is that it works for quite a lot of browsers, except for Safari. But as a progressive enhancement, again, it could be very useful. But be careful that you have to turn off your do not disturb mode in order to be able to get the vibration for your mobile phone. So yeah, this is the trick that kind of I've learned on my own experience. So let's talk in general about this category and kind of remove something that we kind of used to or discussed in the IT area a lot. So there are a few of them. There are a few APIs that we'd like to point out. Clipboard API is a nice API. It allows you to work with the copy-paste thing, copy-paste pieces. Try it out. Maybe you do not need any third-party libraries for that kind of tasks. Gamepad API, interesting thing that you may control gamepads in the browser. I think this API also deserves like separate proper talk about that, and it would be interesting to play with for some demos. Interesting could be managing website from gamepad. Why not? Maybe for some cases that would be an interesting thing to have for users. Push API is a nice, interesting API that kind of allows you to create native push notifications. Try it or look at it if your websites or application kind of need this functionality. Sensor APIs is actually a set of kind of, it's not a set, but it gathers a set of different type of sensors that can be managed in the browser. Mostly of course, it's for mobile devices, but still you can manage some of your device abilities from the browser. Also could be useful. And of course, web HID APIs allows you to connect the browser almost with every HID device and communicate and manage this device from right from the browser. And another category is data management. And I would like to show you a few APIs here. And the first, probably the most common task that I mentioned in this talk is kind of to disable execution of unsafe code from the user-generated content. Right now the name is kind of very not simple, but what I'm talking about is like sanitizing tool. Like for example, one of the most popular sanitizing HTML tool in the NPM has more than 1 million downloads weekly. So, and I personally implement kind of half a dozen sanitizing tasks during my career, at least half a dozen. And I'm sure that a lot of developers do this almost not every day, but very often. And the good thing is that in the browser, there's the thing that could help you to deal with this kind of tasks. So let's open this page. And yes, big con for this thing is that yes, there is a browser thing here, but you cannot use it right now. But let's go to some Chrome Canary. I enable some flags that allows me to use this API. And what the HTML Sanitizers API actually allows you is to sanitize the code that or tags that users kind of passing to the page. So let's say your application has some comments functionality or like posting functionality, and they're able to add something like this. As you can see, there's alerts, a few actually alerts here, and if we do not sanitize or anyhow do it more safely, then you'll get an alert here, and when you click to certainly again you'll get another alert. So before the HTML Sanitizer API, you will get some things that might hurt your website. But if you try to use this API, your code will be prettified. The tags will be removed. Anything that is not safe for the unsafe code will be removed. So it works. It's like it actually works right now. But as I said, it doesn't work in any browser. It just works for just a few browsers and under the flag. Why am I talking about this API if it's not that stable, if it's not ready? Well, I still believe that security for front-end development area is very, very important. And a lot of developers right now do not even think that they have to think about it. So as another layer of security, we could use this API in the browser. Again, we could add another third-party libraries on the front end that do the same thing, and then another libraries that do this kind of stuff on the back end. So this is a nice stuff to have as is not just enhanced improvement, but just another layer of security. And I think it's important to know that such API are going to the browsers, or they will go to the browser in some future. And another exciting thing is that yes, you can get access to user contacts on the mobile phone from the browser. We usually think about contacts and kind of sharing contacts for native application when we have the pop-up asking, would you like to share those contacts? And the nice thing that this functionality goes and comes to the browsers. I would like to share a video from the Google page about that. I also tried this API, this demo page on my own mobile phone, but just in terms of confidentiality, I did not recorded this, of course. So that's why I'm showing you like demo from the Google page, but still it works. You just click a few buttons, you get access to the contact, you select the contacts you'd like to share with the application, and the application get this data. This API works kind of very similar as a lot of API I was talking today. You're just checking that this API is supporting for your browser. Then you setting up the list of properties you'd like to use. Again, the list is kind of requirement thing. So without this list, you won't get anything. And also another option, you can choose whether you would like to have multiple contacts or just one contact. And then you just, by using one method, you get a promise with the list of contacts, or you get an error if there's any. So the bad thing for this API, although it's already shipped for mobile browsers on Android, it doesn't work for a lot of other browsers, and it's still kind of an unofficial draft for this thing. So nice thing as an improvement, nice thing if you do need to get your users' contact information, and again, nice thing to as a progressive enhancement here. But let's look at some other interesting possibility in this category. So very interesting API, credential management API. Of course, there are some talks about the security and how we store passwords and other sensitive information. And credential management API is here to kind of not solve, but maybe resolve some of the problems here. Check it out if you're if you're interested here. Another API is IndexedDB API. As a front-end developers, we usually use some local storage or session storage or cookie to store some users' data, or of course server-side storing data. But sometimes you do need to store quite a lot of data on the client side. So IndexedDB could be an interesting fit for you, a good fit for you. It has some pros and cons to use this API or not, but still, it at least worth to look at. Performance API is a very powerful tool. I would put it like this. Please stop use console log and data, new date. Instead, use performance API for checking some timings and maybe counters will connect dependent on the time. So that would be interesting thing to have. Check out performance API. That will probably give you more powerful for performance debugging and researching. And of course, another API that also sometimes connects with quite a few numbers of security issues is payment request API. Also, I personally think that's a nice thing to have in the browser in terms of security for our future payments. And let's sum up what I talked in the past few 30 plus minutes. Right now, browsers create release new standards and ship new interesting thing on their platform almost every week. So we have standards for HTML, CSS, JavaScript that are evolving during the time. So even 5 years ago, we didn't have that much, I believe, power and improvement almost every day. But right now, there's always something new in the browser. Some features shipped very, very often, and we have to kind of keep an eye on them. And for some of the things that we usually do right now, we even do not need some kind of third-party libraries or tools or even frameworks to work with, because the browser already have this ability like as a platform. And since that is all true, you should never stop learning. You should always look for some new things to learn, some things that shipped in the browser, and you can use them. And one thing that I wasn't completely honest with you is that in the browser we have only 3 technologies here right now. It's not entirely true, because not so long ago WebAssembly as a standard was released and it was brought to the browser. So if you want to use some more powerful languages in the browser, you have this ability, along with HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and web APIs I kind of showed you in my talk. And that's all for me. Thank you for your attention, and I'll publish the slides with the links and demos very soon after this talk in my Twitter if you don't want to wait for this. And I'm ready for answers to your questions.
Awesome, Sasha. I think 9 out of 10 were new to me, and I always feel like I'm really up to date with stuff. So, thank you for that. And I see some reactions in the chat also that people were mind blown. So let's jump right into the questions. First question is from Jessica, and she is asking, just out of curiosity, which entity is in charge of creating and designing those APIs?
Well, those APIs are not like big repository with APIs. Different parts of web community does that. So some of them created by kind of Chrome team that develops Chrome platform. Some of them created by Apple. Some of them by Microsoft. So bigger companies that create actually web standards for us, they created those standards. Some of them just because they're more important for them, they do, but just that's why they created them. Some because they have some interest in there, and as you could notice that kind of a lot of the API I talked about was on the Chrome released, and kind of a lot of them are not actually an official standard. So they're in the browser. They were shipped just to get developers the sense how they can use them, but they're still not a standard. They could be a draft or even an official draft, as for Contact API, as far as I remember, or some of them. So different companies, different kind of platforms has their own interest, and they own develop their interesting web API. Sometimes it's kind of to work together, a few companies. Sometimes it's just one company initiative.
And follow up from me then. Let's say I want to make a coffee machine API. Is it then a race? Because I know that Google also has a coffee machine and they're going to make an API. Is then a race who does it first and ships something to define the API? Or is there always like standards meetings for this? Like we should do it this way?
I'm not sure I'll be able properly to answer this question, but probably the next speaker will be the better, the one who could answer this better. But I probably will not try to answer this question. Unfortunately, okay. I do not know, or I could not remember how it actually does. For different standard committee, it works in a different ways. For example, if you want to add some features to JavaScript as a language, you will go to one committee, and there is no way you can actually go to this committee, say, we need this feature. There are the bunch of people, bunch of companies that decide what's going next. But for some other communities or parts of web development, that could be like new feature could be a little bit easier to propose. I believe different committees that create web standards or like web proposals, they have their own rule how they operate with the request from the communities. So partially Google Developer Expert Program is for that, to get the feedback from the expert developers about some APIs, about some new features in the browsers, and those kind of groups helps help to build the web, to create new features, to get the feedback, that kind of stuff. I'm not sure I answered the question, but get some hints on how it could be.
Yeah, you gave some insight in this whole process on how APIs are designed. Next question is from Lorenz. What is the point of using web APIs rather than libraries that implement the functionality? For browsers that do not implement the web API, you'll still have to load the polyfill. Is it worth the hassle?
Yes, it was, because when you have the standard and different browsers implemented this standard, that means that it probably will work the same way for different browsers. When you have some third-party polyfill or tool or libraries, you depend on some third-party provider, and you're not sure that their polyfill or tool implemented by standard. So you're not expecting it to work by standard. Standards are great feature to have almost the same implementation for different things. So I personally would go with a standard rather than some third-party API. Yeah. But third-party API could be a fallback or polyfill for browsers that does not support this feature as well. Do not forget to skip the older version of the browsers or other browsers for your users. Just look at statistics and see if you need it.
Well, ideally, a NPM package would look at the native browser APIs and use that if available, and then lazy load their own version. That would be the best of both worlds.
Yeah, that's ideal world, but we don't
live in an ideal world.
Created by humans, and you never know what's going on under the hood of your tools. And we as a developer do not usually look under the hood of our tools, so it's usually safer to go with a native implementation than some third-party library or tool. Although we still have to use them, anyways.
Awesome. We have to call it a day, unfortunately. But as Sasha said, she's very active online. So if you want to talk more about APIs, I guess Sasha is the person to go to, right? Sasha, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for joining us, and hope to see you again soon.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye, everyone. See you at the next talk. Bye-bye.
UiPath Studio. One tool, one installer. 3 ways to automate for every kind of developer. UiPath Studio is intuitive and has many simple templates to get you started quickly. There's detailed documentation and free training with UiPath Academy. And because they are all on the same product, you can share your automations and collaborate on more complex projects, enabling good ideas to flow throughout the company. Get started with Studio today.
When you're building an application, there's a lot of pressure to keep security vulnerabilities out of your code. But no matter how skilled you are, between your own code, dependencies, and configurations, you can't catch them all on your own. But that's why Snyk's here. We're the secure development platform that can extend the security reach of every developer. With Snyk, you don't have to handle security vulnerabilities on your own. Snyk. Develop fast. Stay secure.